idea. It's just another idea that I added to my long list of things I have to do. But hopefully I could get it done in a couple days, and I really do, because I really want to do a tearaway skirt. Both Genevieve and her sisters in the movie have longer versions of their short dresses that we see on the cover art and all that stuff, and I wanted to do a tearaway skirt because I thought it'd be fun. And I have a plan, and hopefully it works. And I really, going into this blind, really, I've never done a couple of the things that I decided to do. And honestly, I hope everything works out. And I think for the most part it will. The first thing I had to do is to cut out the skirt in white. I planned on doing the same thing that I did for the shorter skirt, which was dip dye in and ombre it out to make it look similar to the shorter one. I made an A-line skirt, which is exactly what the name suggests. It is just a big A-shaped panel, and in this case, it is bigger than my waist in order for me to gather it to give it a little bit more volume. I made up 4 of these panels and took them to the sewing machine to seal up the edges with a zigzag stitch instead of using the serger because I didn't feel like rethreading it that day. I don't understand why it's just so hard to rethread a serger. The moment that you realize that you're an adult is when you can rethread it without looking at a tutorial, and oh my goodness, I did it the other day and I was so happy. With the edges sewn up, I can put the panels together now. So I have zigzag stitched only one of the panels. As you can see, it's wider at the bottom, like that. What I want to do first, before I do any of the other pieces, so I don't waste thread and time, mostly time, is I'm going to hem this one first. I'm going to hem this one first, and then copy that hem cut, and then sew up the edges, and then in one go, and then iron out the seam lines, and then I'm going to zigzag stitch the bottom where I cut it. That way, it doesn't fray when I do the thing I want to do to it. And then after I'm done with that, why did I say the thing? And then it shall stay fine once I dip dye it and make it pink, make the top pink, make the bottom white, and then it should stay like that, and then I can hem it, and then that part is done, and then I gotta do the bustles, which that fabric is dry. My dryer is dead. Fun. I don't get it until the end of the month, which died at the beginning of the month. So I've been going down to the laundromat and drying all my clothes, and I'm not doing that with this. No, I'm not doing that. I'll just let it dry, air dry, which probably shouldn't take too long, especially if I put it in the wash and like spin it, like actually spin it. So I'm gonna go take care of that. So I finished putting it together. I didn't film the process because, oh my god, it's a long process. And here it is. All 4 panels. I cut, I think I mentioned this, but I did sew up together this side, this side, because, and the other side too. I sewed up these 2 sides because what I want from this middle, I want it to be a tearaway skirt. So I have some Velcro. I have to go upstairs and attach it. I want to attach the Velcro before ombre dyeing it. So basically all I'm going to do is sew on bits of Velcro onto the hemmed edge. I'm also going to hem this real quickly. I'm not gonna actually snag stitch. I know I said I was, but I'm not gonna do it this time. Because if I roll it, those raw edges are protected and that gets rid of a snap. And I don't want to waste my time because it's a long piece. So I'm gonna go do that after I iron out 2 seams. I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna get the Velcro, and then this skirt will be ready to dye tomorrow because I don't feel like doing it tonight. So, woo! Now there are 2 different types of Velcro. Adhesive Velcro and sew-on Velcro. I'm using sew-on Velcro, so I'm gonna cut this into 4, maybe 5 pieces. Run edge on one side, one edge on the other, on a simple straight stitch on 2 sides so it doesn't come up. Sew the first side up in order to match on the other side with the Velcro as much as possible, and if they don't match up perfectly, that's fine. Everything will be fine. It's fine. So I was doing a little research, and I am a big fan of doing historical undergarments when it comes to dresses and things like that. If you have ever seen my Constance Hatchaway cosplay or any other cosplays that I've done that have like a bunch of petticoats and things like that, I absolutely love doing historical undergarment pieces and hoop skirts and things like that, and it's like one of my favorite things to learn. And I just learned, I was looking at the photos, and every photo that I found of Genevieve and her sisters, I honestly believe because they go out more towards the side than fullness, they have like side hoops, or I swear to God, I'm going to mispronounce this and someone's going to come at me, but they're panniers or panniers, which are just side hoop skirts. They're not full hoop skirts. They only come up to the hip, on the side of the hips. And I am going to make a pair that is detachable from the cosplay because, again, this is a tearaway skirt, but I still want the silhouette. And I'm thinking of either doing sew-in snaps or maybe hook and eyes to attach them. I don't know yet. We'll figure that out then. So I'm gonna make those before I gather the main skirt, and then like I'm gonna put it on the dress form with everything off it just to see how it lays once it's gathered. And probably after I ombre dye it, I'm probably gonna do that tomorrow because it's really late already. And so I'm gonna figure out this pattern for the side hoops, and then we will go from there. I am using some leftover fabric from my chemise for my Constance cosplay, and I was being a little lazy here and I forgot to iron it out fully, but in the end it was fine. But don't be me. Iron out your fabric. It will save you so much trouble. The basic design that I found was that it is 2 trapezoid shapes, one wider and one thinner, in order for it to curl in itself once you put the boning in. I was kind of winging it on the measurements because these weren't going to be actual panniers. They were just going to be freestanding things that was snapped into my waistband so I could remove them easily. And it was a trial and error, basically. That's all I was doing. Now, to finally take it to the iron. I found some extra twill tape lying around and decided to use it for my boning channels for the steel boning to give it its shape. Usually I use binding. Bias tape to do this, but I thought it'd be a little bit more sturdier to use the twill tape because I was also out of bias tape at the moment, and it was white and it wasn't going to show through, and it was still more sturdy than bias tape. I left the bottom alone so that I could actually sew a piece of pink bias tape I had left over to seal up the edges. If only the bias tape was in white, but I didn't have white. So I used pink instead, which is fine. It looks really cool. After sewing the bias tape on, I put the boning in and clip the edges together to complete the side hoops before I add the snaps. This is how the side hoops work, sitting on the waist and pushing out the fabric to give it the silhouette. Now to make the bustles. Basically, I just made a long pillow shaped pattern, and I did have to change the length in the end because it was just a little too long. But the goal is to gather it all up to sit on the side hoops nicely, and it just boots right out. Before I add the bustle, I have to gather up the skirt evenly. I wish I could do the sewing machine hack for gathering stitches, but the fabric was being so uncooperative, the thread kept snapping, and I kept having to do it over and over again. So I had to do it with a hand needle and pin it in place, which is my preferred method, really. Fun fact, before I even had the dress form, I actually used to do this on my body, just gathering it up and then putting it on me, seeing where everything sat evenly, and it was a time. The amount of times I've stabbed myself with pins. Ugh. I sew the edges up on the bustle, leaving one edge open to turn it and iron it down. I then added a bit of decorative lace to the bustle to give it some gold like the rest of the dress has. I didn't realize it when I first started doing this, that there is like a bit of gold on the bustles and at the bottom of the skirt. I also iron the lace down so it goes in one direction and doesn't flip up a lot. You'll see that it is very uncooperative in a second. Alright, I got my bustles on. I really should iron the skirt up, but I'll do that last because I'm scared because I made a mistake. Anyways. So I'm done with the bustles, and I'm about to sew them on. I think it looks cute. I have to iron down the left bustle trim because it's a little sticking out. Well, the right one is also sticking out. But I think it's just, once I poof it out, I think it will stop doing that. But I'm actually really liking it. It's super cute. It kind of reminds me of Princess Peach, but this isn't Princess Peach. So I'm going to go sew it along the waist, and then I have to do something very special with the waistband. So let me go do that. On to the final step, which is adding the side hoops and the waistband. First, I added some fabric to stabilize the top of the hoops and for it to hold onto the snaps better. This is so that they won't rip away due to the fabric being a little thin. After adding the snaps there, I add the other sides to the waistband where it will land on my hip. And now to go attach the waistband to the skirt, and that's that. So the top layer skirt is done. There's a couple of adjustments I need to make. Mostly like when it comes to the side panniers, but I think it's giving me the shape that I want. And I'm looking in the mirror. It is going out a little more. I think I'm gonna add a bit of tulle on top of it to give it a little bit more, prove it out just a little bit more the structure, because I think it's just a little too heavy for it. Or it could just be because I put it on myself and I'm gonna need someone else to help me put this on in order to make it look really good. it's done. So all this is really left to do is, because I do things out of order, because I'm not used to filming in order, because I do things like I start something and then I do something else. So all that's left to do is on the shorter skirt, put the decorations on the top, and put the modesty panel in the corset, and of course do the shoes, which I haven't even touched. I still haven't finished cleaning them yet. But I'm actually really in love with this. I think that it's pretty good. I like the ombre effect underneath. I just have to finish cleaning up some of the gathered stitches that are here that didn't get like caught underneath the waistband. But my fingers are numb. I'm done for the day. And I'm really glad that I made these detachable. Time for grand reveal. It's so nice. It really is really nice. And then these just come out and it just makes me so happy. And I'm just like, I can't believe an idea actually worked. I'm just really happy. And it fits. It works and it fits, and I'm gonna add some tulle to it, but that's about it. And thank you for watching this video. Thanks for sticking around to the end. I quite enjoyed this skirt, even though my fingers wanna kill me right now. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. I think the next one's gonna be the shoes. So, thanks again.